Welcome to The View from Highland Park. Today's program is about charity navigation. My panel today consists of my co-hosts, and I'll come to you later, of Suzanne Conman, host of Conman's Roundtable, and my other co-host is distinguished Joyce Bernstein of 30 Minutes with Joyce, and I'm very proud to have as our guest today Mr. Paul Monk. Welcome. Welcome. So I'm going to read a little introduction about you. Paul Monk serves as president of the Rotary Club in Highland Park and Highwood, because they incorporated. This is now the second time around in that role, Indeed. As you've told me. And you joined the Rotary in 2011 after helping with consolidation of several United Way branches from the United Way of the North Shore and being a board member of the new entity for several years. Prior to focusing his attention on NGOs, which he told me are non-government organizations, positively impact local communities. You spent 25 years in the wireless communication industry, beginning in the early 80s, and you've held various management positions at NYNEX, Motorola, Bell South, where he had responsibility for worldwide strategy development of the company's activities in the wireless data arena. Paul also worked in New York City as a senior consultant of Chase Econometrics, an economic forecasting firm, serving a variety of Fortune 550 or Fortune 50 clients, which is better than Fortune 500. And you did receive your undergrad degree in mathematics from Rutgers University, and you do hold an MBA with finance concentration from Vanderbilt University, Owen Graduate School of Management. You are currently a 32-year resident of Highland Park, where you live with yourself and your wife, and you've raised two grown sons, I assume. Right.
All two.
All righty. Again, welcome. And we're going to start. Paul, may I call you Paul?
Of course.
Wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about how you chose to be affiliated with the Rotary Club of Highland Park?
Sure. So I have had some experience with Rotary or exposure to Rotary in my high school years. When I worked for a Rotarian who was a neighbor, and I took care of his house while he and his wife went on various travels on behalf of the local Rotary Club. And then I became reacquainted with Rotary when I moved to Highland Park, and our younger son was selected to participate in some Rotary sponsored activities within Highland Park High School. So when I started looking for an organization that would make an impact on our local community and in the world, I did a little bit of research, and I came to the realization that the local Rotary Club was the best fit for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. And what are the core values of the Rotary Club and their mission statement?
Yeah, so the core values are probably best summarized by our motto, which is service above self, and by the four-way test that members recite at the beginning of each of our meetings that sort of guide all our activities. And those values are: is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to all concerned? So, with that as a guidance, both in our club activities and our personal life, that essentially provides the core value of what Rotary is all about. The mission is pretty straightforward, frankly. It's to serve others, to promote integrity, and to advance, better world understanding and goodwill and peace through this network of business, professional, and community leaders. So this is really our fundamental belief that by addressing the core causes of strife and misery in the world, which is namely hunger and poverty, disease and illiteracy, we in fact, can make a difference both in our local community and in the world at large.
Very good. And what percent of each dollar actually goes to helping others, goes to the actual causes or programs that are implemented?
Yeah, good question. So at the local level, our Rotary Club is all made up of strictly volunteers. There are no paid positions. So it's these volunteers that work tirelessly to address the needs in the community that we see, and we're always looking for new people, of course, So if anyone's interested, they should get on our website, Highland Park Rotary.
You can mention the website,
Yeah,
please do.
HighlandParkRotary.org, and see what we're all about. The expenses of the club are covered by the dues that each member pays. So it's really 100% of the money that we receive through donations or that we raise through our fundraising events goes straight back to the needy, be it in the form of scholarships for first generation college students, or to fund specific service and projects that address specific needs in the community, or the grants that we give to other charitable organizations that provide a service that's, has an impact on the community. So I would say 100% of what we get, we spend. There's really, and the overhead's covered by the members themselves.
Okay. And on that note, I did want to go into, when you look up anything online, you get things that are so similar. So I wanted to ask you, how do you tell that you're actually giving to the actual Rotary Club? Because there's so many, they call it the sound-alike effect on charities.
Yeah. So let me make sure I understand the question. How do I know that the money I give to the Rotary Club goes to the Rotary Club?
That's not exactly what I was asking. Is that there are so many. When you look up a website, you want to see official website. So tell us a little bit about the official website you mentioned, like during lunches in Evanston, right? So you're giving, you give to the official website or give to you. The Rotary Club that you are president of, so people know the difference. Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can answer that. There are several ways you can contribute to Rotary, of course. As you mentioned, there's a Rotary International, which is headquartered in Evanston. And I'm sure that if you go on their website, there will be a donate button.
But it always has to say official, right, official website, right.
There's, the Rotary is organized by districts. There are some, 34,000 clubs and 2 million members all over the world, spanning from Austria to Zimbabwe. So you're never too far from a Rotary Club, no matter where you travel. You can give money to the Rotary Foundation, which funds major global projects.
Yeah, that's what we were discussing a little bit about the difference between local and international, right?
So Rotary Foundation would, for example, be responsible for Rotary's effort to eradicate polio worldwide. This has been going on for quite some time.
Or purification of water.
Those may be done through the Rotary Foundation, but typically those are a collection of local clubs that get together and get some money from the foundation, but the clubs themselves are responsible for their activity. And then again, you can donate money directly to the local club, like Highland Park Highwood, and that money would be used, 95% of that money would be used on local activities in our community. I mean, we do have some international work, but it's fairly minor compared to what we do in our local community.
Right. I know this might be a little bit, because it is international, but when you deal with international, how do you know, is there a certain contact person? How do you know that actually everything is going where it's designated?
Right. Well, it's really not that difficult, because typically there will be a Rotary Club present in the location that you're working on internationally. So if we are, building an orphanage and a girls' school in Mexico, there is a Rotary Club right there, right? So our contact would be that Rotary Club. So we have a pretty high confidence that the money that we're allocating to that project gets spent the way it's supposed to get spent.
Very, very good.
So we don't hand money over to governments.
Right, that is fair, right, that you have a concern that,
right. So it's typically Rotary to Rotary. And that's really the beauty of Rotary, it allows people to unite across the globe to sort of share in the vision and do things together.
Absolutely. Well, excellent. I want you to feel free to interject and everything. We're going to have a little bit of discussion. You have a very excellent, good, vetted charity, and we're going to talk about other charities and navigation. So, Suzanne, would you like to talk about?
Well, first of all, you asked how there are kind of for major charities. There's Watchdogs, and including the BB Wise Giving Alliance and Charity Navigator and Charity Watch. These are some of the places that you can check out your charities. I know we all get so many different things in the mail, and you just don't know where to give your money. And there's certain things that are questionable. I was looking up certain things like from the Clinton Foundation, and I noticed that $50 million of their money goes to travel expenses. And I know Bill Clinton spent $50 million on travel expenses. They hired Sidney Blumenthal. He earned $10,000 a month as an employee for the Clinton Foundation. So these are some of the things that sometimes you have to question, where is your money going to? I know we talked about today at the Bluegrass, we talked about the St. Jude, which I know that the money that goes to St. Jude is for patients that completely get their children get free care at St. Jude, and the parents, if they have to stay at a hotel or overnight or what have you, they get their meals completely free, their hotel stay. So it's a very good charity because it's definitely getting to the children. They're getting taken care of, children with cancer. But there are a lot of, in fact, this was taken from Best and Worst Charities for your donation. There, you have to really look at so many of the different charities that are going out. Some are really good, and they give all the money to the charity, for children that are hunger and, for things that, like they had in Australia, the fires, there's a lot of donations are being given there, and you want to make sure that the people, are getting that, and the animals are getting taken care of. So you really have to watch where your money is going, and they say that there are certain places that you can check out to make sure this is happening, because it is kind of, the Rotary, of course, gives to, and you talked about, you have something for college, for young people mentor certain students, and they give money to children so they can go to college, which is really, really good, because college is really unaffordable these days unless you go to a community college. It's eating up people's financials. No matter, even if you're making, you're middle class and you're making some money, it's not enough to, you're sending 2 kids to college. It eats everything out of your, So it's nice that Rotary is doing, that they are following through and helping children, some of the children go to college. But this is, you worry about, where does your money go to when you
absolutely, is it going to, tremendous travel expenses of administration that are tremendous overhead, CEO salaries that are, definitely in the multi-million-dollar figures. Is that necessary? Right.
Yeah, those are, good questions. I think you have to look at it on a case-by-case basis.
Case-by-case basis, right. How much money they're bringing in, and what their contacts are, and their networking, and, you're talking about like St. Jude's, just one case. I know they do a lot of, public awareness. They do a lot. I don't know if they have to pay for that time on television, and I would assume that they have to. I've seen like Marlo Thomas on, and they showed the children, telling stories of how the hospital has helped them, and
you have a marketing budget.
But you have to,
that's
you have to have that.
On, right?
Absolutely.
And probably knowing Marlo Thomas, she's, for her, on behalf of her father. What's his first?
Danny Thomas.
Danny Thomas. That she probably, I wouldn't be surprised she even pays for her own advertising for St. Jude.
It can be done. We don't know the particulars involved. Right. But it's just be watchful. And then I did want to interject too that once you do give to some charities, you may find 20 pieces of mail, for similar charities that you did not give money to.
Right.
So, as we were talking, over lunch, that there is usually a fine print after you've given to, that they do allow you to give it.
You have to opt out
You have to opt out.
of that mailing list being shared.
And I've gotten
Yes.
calls from the Fraternal Order of Police, and I don't know who's on the phone, and they make you feel you're not going to give, you're not going to, and they make you feel guilty, like if you're not giving.
Right.
And that's a red flag to me. When
Yes.
anybody starts making you feel guilty of not giving, that's my red flag.
Well, Rotary Club will never make you feel guilty, so you can.
That's a positive. And the other thing too that I just wanted to add is that my husband and I do give a lot of charities, and we probably donate maybe once or twice a year, and then every week we're getting the same mailings from the same charity. We need you to support us, and no one's going to write a check every week. Why can't they track? So and so gives, maybe do, instead of spending all that money and time doing the mailings once a week, that they should, maybe do it once every couple of months or once every 6 months, or, it's just like they're.
Everyone goes about it a little differently.
I know, but it gets it gets to the point where you want to just toss that mail instead of really looking at it. Yes.
Industry statistics are that on direct mail, direct response, which is...
Yeah, what are the statistics?
It's less than 1%.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
And it's been less than 1% for, since my graduate school days. So
okay.
It hasn't changed. It's,
Alrighty.
most of those mailings wind up straight in the trash can.
Straight in the trash.
What does Joyce think about this?
Now, Joyce, okay, you have a different perspective on
Yes.
everything? Yes.
Okay, KF or CAF is the Charities Aid Foundation, and they list 5 reasons to give to charity. Donating to the causes you care about not only benefits the charities themselves, it can be deeply rewarding for you too. Millions regular basis to support causes they believe in, as well as the positive effect it has on our own lives. Reason number 1, giving to charity makes you feel good. Donating to charity is a major mood booster. The knowledge that you are helping others is hugely empowering and in turn can make you feel happy and more fulfilled. The number 2 reason is giving to charity strengthens personal values. In our research, why we give, a feeling of social conscience was the most widely given reason to give to charity. Whatever type, the 96% said they felt they had a moral duty to use what they had to help others, sentiment very much rooted in their personal values. That was number 2. Number 3 reason is giving is more impactful than ever. Many people are concerned that their donations to charity may be reduced by tax or administrative costs, preventing the full amount people or causes they really want to help. Thankfully, there are ways to make most of every donation to charity. Point 4, giving to charity introduces your children to the importance of generosity. Sharing the experience of donating to charity with your children shows them from a young age that they can make positive changes in naturally love to the help others, so nurturing that the innate generosity is likely to mean that they grow up with a greater appreciation of carrying on supporting charity in years to come. And point 5, giving to charity encourages friends and families to do the same. Your own charitable donations can inspire you nearest and dearest to give to causes important to them and could even bring about a charity or charities that have special significance to as a group. So now you've heard the 5 reasons why you should give to charity, making you feel good, and I mentioned all 5 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to add, upon someone's demise, a lot of times they're doing in lieu of flowers, please give to their favorite charities, or charity of your own choice.
Very, very often you see that.
Yes, very often. So we're getting away from people, spending money on something that is just in the moment,
Yeah,
and then
even-
having to do giving more good
Yeah,
later on.
even in my building, whenever any people die, they say that they don't even say charity of your choice. They tell you where the person would have liked the money
Where
to
it's
go to.
designated, right.
Yeah, and that's
Absolutely.
given more than a donation of money or anything else, flowers or.
Also, I just want to make a mention that Charity Watch uses a letter grade rating system that also looks at the percentage of overhead spent on the programs, and they and generally spend at least 75% on the program. So your money goes to the causes you want to support. So you have to make sure that these charities are spending at least 75% of their money on the programs that they say they're, if they're helping starving children or whatever, fires, hurricanes, you have to really check out and make sure that the charity that you're giving to is a grade A, gets a letter grade A on that. So that's very important. And we have to check out the charities. It isn't just something just to give your money. You need to make sure that they're on these Charity Watch programs.
Right. They are an actual charity, and they're not a GoFundMe page on. Because that one we don't know where that goes to.
Yeah, you would hear at one time that it doesn't even go to the cause. It goes to the company, and the people that work there keep the money and things like that.
I think the overhead, I think the 75-25 rule that you mentioned is probably a good floor, and any charity that's spending more than a quarter out of each dollar on overhead is probably, you can do better.
Right.
Yeah.
And those travel expenses I mentioned earlier, that was, to spend that much money on travel.
Yeah, but be careful about that, because that 15 million
50 million on travel
may be
expenses?
nothing if you're raising $3 billion a year, right? I mean,
We talked
so
about it, right.
so
that you have
but
to
you have to understand the context.
You
of
have
that.
to spend money to
make money.
and to, like we're talking about, a lot of money in advertisement and mail.
But I think these are private jets, so you're not spending that if you're going coach.
or basic economy, which is what I usually do. Yes.
Not instead of first class, right?
Right, where you have to pay for your Diet Coke.
Yeah.
I'm sure it differs from by size.
Yeah, when I was supposed to get, from first class, they ran out of food, I remember. I didn't get any anyway.
So the second
I
class.
can't even remember.
Yeah.
Every time they see me, they pull the curtain.
And you can't
You
use
can't
that
even look
washroom.
inside to watch. You can't use their washroom. You can't use their luggage bin. You can't even look into their, area.
Yeah, closed.
I was always wondering if a plane was going to crash where the first class folding seat cushions were bigger, and you could float longer. But I digress.
They're the important people on the plane. They can get out first.
Yeah, right.
So
They're closest to the front.
Well, the closest to, it depends on where the exit is.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
true.
yes.
That's true.
So ladies, how do you feel about charities? Do you feel it's more important to actually give a monetary value, or to do some service in coordination, in conjunction with a charity? Because there are different types of charitable contributions. You can contribute your time, or we're talking about mentoring, and then you can do a monetary amount, value.
Well, when I have guests, on my own show, they're, they have just written a book, or maybe they're part of it, somewhere that they raise money for their charities, and I think for me and for most of us, we're volunteers. That we none of us, our camera people here, our crew back there, ourselves, we do not collect any salaries. So we're giving our time to the city of Highland Park, and we're giving our time to the people and the guests that we have on the show to tell, something like we're talking today about charities. We're talking about Rotary, Highland Park Rotary, Highland Park Highwood Rotary, and I think that we're doing, it's our we're contributing. It's sort of like our fundraising, we're sort of fundraising for them, telling about their charities, telling about their books, telling about our guests, and I think this is our way of volunteering and contributing.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And again, Paul, did you want to mention how people can contact you, please?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I mean, best way to contact us is through our website, HollandParkRotary.org. You'll get
For
to all
any
the
information that
for
they
any
want,
information,
yes.
you can find minutes from meetings and for organization charts and activities that we have planned. And there's of course application form for those that would be interested in joining. So that would be the best way to get hold of us. I wanted to pick up on something that you mentioned in your 5 points, which was instilling the feeling of charitable donations in young people. So one of the things that we do at Rotary, we spend a tremendous amount of our focus on instilling service orientation in young people. So we sponsor a club of well over 100 students in Highland Park High School that's committed to doing service projects and learning about good citizenships. And we firmly believe that by investing in the young people, we are really building a civic society, because those people will be the leaders, tomorrow. We do the same thing at the middle school level. At Northwood, that club's name is Northwood Gives Back. They're also built around Rotarian values. So we do a whole lot more than just hand out checks. And that's important to recognize. It's really a service club.
Can you tell a little bit about what you do to help children go to college? I found that very fascinating.
Yeah, so we do have a scholarship program. It's sort of a tripod, if you will. Part that we talked about earlier deals with mostly with first generation college students, typically minorities or low income levels. And we partner with an organization called College Bound Opportunities, CBO, that really provides this mentoring aspect. They pick up these kids in 9th grade and see them through, one individual is assigned to one student, and they see that child through 9th grade all the way through graduation of college. So they provide support that that child would not find at home, because parents have never gone to college, right? Siblings haven't gone.
They may not even speak English either.
They may not even speak English, right? So studies have shown that mentoring has a tremendously positive impact. That dropout rate without a mentor is in the 80% range. CBO graduates 95% of the kids that they've been mentoring. It's a phenomenal number. So we work with them. We give them some money that they use for gap funding for these kids. So the kids apply for a bunch of scholarships. There's usually a hole left that hasn't paid for, and our money is used to fill that hole. The second program we have is a scholarship for a high school senior at Highland Park. These are all Highland Park High School seniors that has shown academic merit and also commitment to the community. So, if you've been involved in the community for 4 years, be it a candy striper at the hospital or doing who knows what volunteer work, and you have good grades, we fund that scholarship.
Excellent.
So that's really not financially based, that's more merit oriented.
How many do you sponsor every?
If I add it all up, probably 15 or so every year.
So it's one student a year, or is it how many?
It's one student on the Service Above Self scholarship.
Yeah.
It's one student for the medical field scholarship that I mentioned. I didn't mention on this program.
Oh,
I talked
okay.
about it earlier. And it's probably 10 to 15 or so on the College Bound Opportunities side.
Excellent. He's telling us, our director, that we are running out of time, so I did want to thank our co-host Joyce Bernstein, our co-host Suzanne, and Paul, and I just wanted to add any other comments that we have a little bit more time than I thought that you. Joyce, any?
Well, one thing,
Yes.
I've seen different television programs where people even in grammar school have collected money or different things, and they're so proud they're giving it all to charity,
Absolutely.
And not even anything they belong to, just whoever needs it. And they're just so proud of it, the youngsters.
Yes, I
They're
know.
taught the right way.
I also know of like teenage girls who are saying, instead of a birthday party, take that money and donate it to charity.
Oh, that's
You know,
that's
instead
a good
that's
idea.
the whole thing. Or they do something as a group, as far as a birthday, to do that and do a charitable contribution
yeah,
or
that's-
do that. So anyhow, I wanted to thank Paul from the Rotary Club, President of the Rotary Club. And I do want to thank our crew today, Ron Levitsky directing, Larry Byer doing audio, our wonderful camera person,
Sandra.
camera person Sandra, our floor director,